Hey guys, Peter here to do an album review. Today I'm here to tell you all about the debut record from Plaguestorm, Mother of Plagues, out October 11th, self-release. The album has 8 tracks, 42 minutes in length, and this is not a band. This is a one-man studio project led by Sebastian Pastor. He's the brain behind this operation. I would say 95% of the work on this record was done by him, with the exception of the vocals and a few guest solos. Taking that out of the equation, everything else was done by him, including the mixing and mastering. Now, for those of you not familiar with his sound, he's released an EP before, but this is the first time releasing a full-length record. For those of you not familiar with his sound, his project is a melodic death metal project, and in my opinion, it incorporates 2 different eras of one single band. The core sound behind this project is really the Swedish melodic death metal scene, and to me, the band that's represented the most in this specific record is In Flames. You could feel almost a progression from old In Flames to new In Flames as the album progresses. To me, though, those are the major influences at play and really dictate the sound and where he went with this full-length release. The structure of the album, to me, offers a mixture of styles, of songs, of genres. It really plays out on this old, new In Flames. So that allows the record to have a certain fluidity to it and have sudden changes and not be one of those records that's very straight from the beginning to the end and it's just treading water all the way through. It's not that style of a record. It's a record that offers songs that have a lot more aggression, they're more dynamic, followed up by songs that are more melodic, more methodic. So there's a little bit of everything. There's a mixture of these 2 worlds colliding, but he did a very good job intertwining them so that you would get certain peaks and valleys throughout the record, and you at no point in time do you ever feel like you're stuck and every single song has the same feel, the same presence, the same style, the same atmosphere. He did a very good job mixing the songs around in the structure of the record to allow the album to have a lot of life and to really engage the listener and keep the listener stuck to it all the way through and not just play a couple of songs and feel perhaps that there's nothing new being given to you and then you decide to walk away. No, he did a very good job structuring the record in a way that's very compelling, that really attracts you as a listener, that really engages you as a listener. So from that perspective, the structure of the record is really well put together. Now, the overall vocals on the album is really hard to define because the album has different vocalists, and I'm going to name 2. Bjorn Strid is on one of the tracks, and Ken Romlin from Nightcrown is also on one of the tracks. So that gives you an idea of the kind of style of vocals that you're going to get on this record. But the fact that he uses different vocalists, not all 8 tracks have different vocalists, but there's several different vocalists on this record. So that, from a vocal perspective, allows the album to be very dynamic, very different from track to track, because you're going to get a different delivery, you're going to get a different style, you're going to get a different approach. So the album, from that perspective, is very fluid, but he did a very good job, mixing the songs in a way that you get songs that are by the same vocalist. You get a couple of them in a row, so there's a sense of you getting used to that, and then it changes, and that's one of those abrupt changes that I talked about previously, and then coming back to that same vocalist, and so forth and so forth. So he did a very good job choosing which tracks he was going to put where as part of the overall structure, but keeping in mind who the vocalist was on those tracks, so that you would have breaks, but at the same time a little bit of a sense of continuity as far as vocals are concerned. The overall sound of this record really holds itself together, and to me is the sound that really holds this whole album together. Because of that variety behind the vocals, behind the vocal approach, you really need something that holds the album, that allows the record to feel like one solid record and not something that was put together almost like out of a Spotify playlist. So in my opinion, the common denominator that really holds this record together is the sound. It's the approach that he had. The overall approach to every single song is very similar song to song. The sound itself is very similar, while he had some dynamic changes within the tracks. But that, to me, was one of the consistent points that this record has to offer, considering how volatile, how much changes you're going to get from the vocals. The guitar work on the album is really well-rounded. There's a great solo on this album by Fabio Bartoletti from Flesh God Apocalypse, one of the guests on this record. The guitar work overall, the one that he did, the one that he had guests come in to do, overall is extremely good. I really like the sound of the guitars. I really like the solos. I like the riffs. Very strong, very powerful, very dynamic. Even the ones that are more methodic and melodic, they still have a lot of life in them. They still captivate you as a listener. So the overall guitar work on this album is absolutely magnificent. The drums, to me, is perhaps the not the sour spot on the record, but perhaps the weakest point of the record. To me, the drums were not as powerful as I would like, and therefore they were not as vibrant. And to me, this is the soft spot, like I said, on this album. They matched the sound well, but to me, they needed to be a little bit more robust. They needed to be a little bit more powerful. They needed to be a little bit thicker in volume, and at some point in times be a lot more aggressive. To me, they play a very diminished role, and it really comes down to the vocalists and the guitar work to really carry the load on every single track. So I feel that from an overall musical perspective, the songs could have been even more powerful had the drums behind it had a different kind of impact. Overall, this is a very good album, great atmosphere, fluid in its sound, fluid in its nature, with a lot of great tracks. Amazing record, considering, like I said, everything was done by him. So when you take that in consideration, this album is really phenomenal. Now, as far as favorite tracks are concerned, I'm going to start off with All Is Meant to Decay. This is the album opener. The record starts off with this track, and that to me is a great way to get the album started. Has a great melodic guitar opening, very somber, and to that somberness comes the vocals that are very hidden within the mix. And I like that. It adds to that darkness. It adds to that first glance at the record, so it comes in almost from underneath you. It comes in almost from underground. I like that feel in the mix as far as the vocals being very hidden. I really like that approach. After that more dark, methodic opening, the aggression kicks in, and so does the intensity. The vocals pick up. They move from the background, from being hidden within the mix, to be more in the forefront, to be more dominating, and then it stays like that throughout the rest of the album, throughout the rest of the track. This one has a magnificent solo. I really like the solo on this song. Very melodic, but very methodic at the same time. It really fits the two different aspects that this song had to offer. It really fit that more methodic, dark intro, and then the more aggressive approach. So to me, this is a solo that really represents the song, and it represents the two aspects that this song had combined previously. So it really reflects the image that this song had to offer. Next, When the Flood Arrives. This is my favorite song on the record. I absolutely love this track. The song comes in with a great riff. It really sets the tone for what the rest of the track is going to have to offer to the listener. The verses on the song are even hookier. This is incredible. The verses are hookier than the chorus. I felt more connected, more attached with the verses than I did with the actual chorus. It normally is the other way around, but I really like the way the verses came at me. I like the lyrics in the verses. I like how they sound. I like the vocal delivery of them, and it allowed me to really get hooked into this song was the verses, not the chorus. This song has a really dark riff that follows the second verse, and it's the perfect lead into the guitar solo that comes after that absolutely destroys the track. The guitar solo on this song is just like it's like an explosion. It just comes in and it absolutely demolishes everything around it. One of the best solos on the record. Not my favorite solo, but one of the best solos on the record. And this song, to me, is one of the most complex and dynamic tracks that this album has to offer. There's just a lot of different moving pieces coming at you, and it's just a very dynamic and fluid song all around. So one of the most complex tracks that I found listening to this record. Last but not least, Man Becomes God. This song has a very interesting intro because the intro is about 2 minutes long, and it's an absolute guitar clinic as far as metal riffs are concerned. So you get this absolutely gorgeous intro that goes in for almost 2 minutes, very short, very shy of 2 minutes, maybe a few seconds shy of 2 minutes. And it's the perfect build up to a song that has so much energy, both musically and vocally. The solo on this track really reminds me of an Arch Enemy solo. It has all those same condiments, like a little bit over the top, very melodic, with a lot of different nuances to it. So if I was just listening to the solo on this track without listening to the track at all, I would think that was definitely an Arch Enemy type of solo. The last third of the song, there is a change in the vocals. They become a lot darker, almost like a spoken word. and that adds a different layer to the overall feel that this track really has to offer. The song comes full circle, or almost full circle. It finishes off with a very similar melody, similar approach as it started off. It doesn't finish off with the same exact riff, the same exact melody, but very similar and very similar approach. So it really gives this a sense of a full circle as far as this track is concerned, as it starts, as it ends. Alright guys, this is it. This is Plaguestorm, Mother of Plagues, out October 11th. If you like melodic death metal, if you like In Flames, if you like Swedish melodic death metal, I suggest you guys check out this project. Keep in mind, this is one-man project. He put everything together, like I said, with the exception of the vocals and a few guest solos. Check him out. It's really good. It's a really good project. It's a really good sound. And for the fans of the genre, I don't think you're going to walk away feeling disappointed. Alright guys, let me know your thoughts if you had a chance to check him out. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section. I'll be reading those as always and getting back to you. Take care guys.